and welcome to Shell Point Today for Wednesday, July 27th. I'm Mary Kay Grimaldi.
And I'm Rich Nation. Thanks for joining us today. On today's show, Ruth Deuber will share a recipe for caramel pecan rolls and a banana mocha bisque in our What's Cooking segment. And we'll get another aquatic tip from Melanie Brode.
But first, we want to remind you that tomorrow is the final day of the Summertime Tea and Tours. It will be held at the King's Crown on the island. This is a great opportunity to learn about the next phase in the continuum of care here at Shell Point and to plan for your future care needs. You'll enjoy an informational presentation by Assisted Living Director Rita Southern, as well as light refreshments and answers to all your questions concerning assisted living. The tour and presentation begins at 9:30 a.m. and you'll need to call to sign up beforehand as seating is limited.
Also tomorrow afternoon will be the opportunity to enjoy a movie in the Grand Cypress Room of the Woodlands. It's Thursday Theater with the 2016 movie Brooklyn, starring Saoirse Ronan and Emery Cohen. The film is set in the 1950s and is about an Irish immigrant who moves to New York where she falls for a tough Italian plumber. After returning to her homeland, she struggles with deciding between the two countries and the lies that live there. The film begins at 2 p.m. and can also be seen at 7 p.m. in the Grand Cypress Room.
An important Health Connection class that's happening this Friday is entitled Falls, a Collaborative Approach. People can fall for many reasons: weakness, dizziness, medical changes, medications, vision, safety impairment, or other physical dysfunction. The goal of this class is to improve outcomes after you have a fall by using a collaborative approach. Join physical therapist Christine Galata for this informative presentation at 2:15 in the Social Center on Friday.
It smells like something wonderful is cooking over at Ruth Deuber's place. Could it be caramel pecan rolls? Well, let's head over there now where David Lee has joined Ruth for another installment of What's Cooking at Shell Point.
Hello, I'm Ruth Deuber.
And I'm David Lee, and What's Cooking at Shell Point.
Thank you very much for joining us today. David and I are both going to cook, and we've got it worked out so that what I'm making goes in the oven while he's going to do his recipe. So I'm going to start, and I'm going to use the Crescent rolls. And the recipe that'll be up on the website is actually for the 8 ounce, which is the large tube. And I'm doing it for just 4 servings. You know, sometimes you might wake up on Sunday morning and there's just 2 of you and you want something sweet. Well, this is the answer. So, okay, now we're ready. Okay, so we're going to end up with 4 triangles. So I'm going to put that right there. And we're going to make the filling that we're going to do. And this is, lots of butterscotch. We're going to use some of these. And it calls for the 1/4 cup of pecans. Now this is the half a recipe. 1/4 cup of pecans, 2 tablespoons of brown sugar, a 1/4 teaspoon of vanilla. We'll put that in.
Things are always better with vanilla.
Absolutely, that's the flavor. And then it calls, the recipe said whipping cream, but I picked up the wrong one. And so this is just regular cream, but I've made it and it works out pretty well. This is a 1/2 tablespoon of cream, but it does have that consistency. So then we're going to mix that up. This is the good gooey part. It calls for the pecans to be chopped finely, but I didn't really get them to that point when I was grinding them. I want to know I'm eating pecans.
Gives you more crunch this way.
Absolutely, yeah. And you notice there's no butter, but you don't really need it with this, the brown sugar and everything. So, we're going to unroll these. And we'll take them apart. That'll be one. And this one. There. And this. Here's our other two. Okay, so what we're going to do now is put some of this on each one. And what I usually do is put some on each, and then I'll know that they've all
Make sure you
got
have
the
enough.
same amount. So that'll be a little more. So we'll see how this works out.
You can put plenty on mine.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Well, the trick, of course, is rolling it up. But I don't worry about it. It's not, if it's not perfect, that's okay. So let's put a little more on that one. See any more of those, David, that need a little bit more?
Oh, this one right here.
Oh, that's got your name on it? Is that
Yep,
right?
yep.
Okay. Then it
Ah,
calls for a teaspoon, but I don't do it that way. I just put some of these on.
just to add the flavor.
Absolutely. And we'll put one more on that. There. You want to put a couple on those?
Sure. I'll put them on yours.
Okay. Got some for there. Okay.
There we go.
Okay. Now, I do have the oven on at 400. So now we want to start to roll them. And you're going to lose some of the filling, but hopefully
You
not
didn't lose
too
any
much.
there, yeah.
Yeah. And you want to seal the ends a little bit.
Okay.
And this is parchment paper because it will be very sticky. So you want to make sure that you line your sheet with that. So this is the wrong angle, so I'm going to turn it around. You want to try one, David?
I'd be glad to.
Okay, you try that one. And this is the part where Dan can edit this if we mess it all up. So
So far, so good.
you're right. There again, this is just a nice recipe for one person. I have made them and frozen them. So it's a very forgiving recipe.
Because I have neighbors who always liked to have me knock on the door with
I
something.
bet they do. So we'll put that on there. As I say, the oven is at 400.
And I had my eye on this one, so I'm going to put right there.
Oh, okay. And we will put these in, and they bake for about 13 minutes. And so while this is baking, David is going to take over his part of the show.
Okay.
Alrighty, we want the oven at 350 for maybe 10 to 12 minutes, but you want to keep an eye on it because you don't want them to get too brown.
Okay, I'm going to make banana mocha bisque soup. This happens to be one of the recipes I got from a wonderful resort in the Virgin Islands. And what I discovered is that if you have some fruit left over, how do you use it? And you can only eat so much banana bread. So the recipe is going to be available to you, but this is very simple. 3 bananas. So we have our 3 bananas, 1 cup of milk. This happens to be whole milk. You can use any milk you want. And actually, just the other day, I tested it with the lactate milk for those that are sensitive, and it works just fine. Then the secret ingredient, which you can get at Publix, is instant espresso coffee. It's what makes the mocha. I happen to like the flavor, so the recipe I'm calling for today says 2 tablespoons. Of the mocha. You can put less or more, or if you don't like mocha, you can put chocolate in here. I haven't tried vanilla, but it would work too. And basically, you now have banana mocha bisque.
Isn't that wonderful?
The secret to serving it, though, is serving it ice cold.
Okay. Now, the miracle, these are ready to come out of the oven. Oh, David, look at all that good stuff.
Ooh,
Ah, how about that?
I bet you can't eat just one of those.
Well, we'll have to because there's 3 of us.
Yeah.
Okay, we're ready for your wonderful drink here.
So
Oh,
Ruth,
look at that.
I got it nice and ice cold.
Okay.
And I put when we serve dinner, the easiest way to serve is just in a coffee cup. And
Okay,
the people just drink it
okay,
because it, but sometimes we like to entertain.
Okay.
And I saw dishes like this over at the thrift shop. But
that's just
I filled it with
amazing.
chopped ice,
Okay.
and so it's just kind of
So you
fun to
would
sit down.
You would use the spoon.
Yeah, and use a spoon with this and
Yeah,
serve it that
okay.
way. Or I'd use a regular coffee cup at my house. But
Okay.
when I was testing this recipe, Ruth, we served it to some friends up at the Woodlands, and he took a sip and he says, "There's only one thing wrong with this.
Oh my.
It needs to be served in a mug." So Bart Sharp at the Woodlands, this is for you. In a mug.
In a mug.
There you go.
Wonderful. Now,
What
how
do
do
you
you
think?
dress it up?
Okay, and I usually don't dress this up, but my wife came up with an idea because this could be served after dinner too.
Oh,
It's
okay,
so
sure.
rich,
Yeah, you
and
could.
so you serve a little cookie,
Okay.
and I just happened to get these cookies at Marshall's,
Oh,
and a little
okay.
little
You
chocolate
wouldn't think that
cookie,
they'd have it.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
wonderful.
or serve it when
Yeah.
you set it down, just put it through here like this. So
You know, I will have to let you know, folks, David and Margie do a lot of dressing. Their plating is always something special, just like that. And they do a wonderful job.
yeah, but look
of
at
that.
this, Ruth.
Yes, and this is the one that has your name on it
Yes.
right there. You might break a piece off and see if it's okay, and I'm going to get a spoon. Might be a little hot. Careful.
It is warm.
Yeah, okay.
Ooh, look at that,
Oh,
Ruth.
now, isn't that wonderful?
I know Sunday
goes
morning,
all the
I
way
know what we're
through.
going to have.
Oh, and I'm going to have this. What a wonderful combination.
There you have it.
Okay, well, we'll put the recipe up on the website. We hope you'll look at it and join us again as David and I cook together. Bye-bye.
Bye now.
After all the delicious sweet goodness, it might be a great time to get into the water and work it off with some exercises.
And for that, we have a fit tip from fitness instructor Melanie Brode.
Hi, Melanie Brode at the Aquatic Center with another great fit tip. Today's tip is for your upper body. It's called a push-up, and all you do is you both basically float with your hands beneath you in a push-up position. Okay, your body's nice and rigid, and when you're in the pool, this noodle would want to float up to your chest, and then you'd push it back down. So this is a great upper body workout. Can you tuck your knees in to your elbows and back? It's basically a burpee in the pool. So that's another great exercise. That's another fit tip. Thanks for joining me.
And now it's time to cover all of today's happenings, Academy news, menus, and Village Church connections.
Well, hello and happy Wednesday. This is the Happening segment of Shell Point TV. I'm Caitlin Van Scoy.
And I'm Bev Chandley.
And we're here to give you all of Wednesday's activities. We start at 8 o'clock with men's round robin tennis at the Woodlands. And also at 8, pickleball will be played at the game courts behind the Resident Activity Center. Lilly & Company Jewelers will be here for their weekly service at 8:45 in the Resident Activity Center. And Geraci Travel will be here at 9 o'clock in the Egret room. Also at 9, Watercolor Group with Phil Hilton will be meeting in the Art Studio. And the Card Making and Scrapbooking Group will be in the Tarpon room at 9:15. 10 o'clock's the time for Ladies Bible Study in the Osprey room. Also at 10, men's match play tennis is going on at the Woodlands tennis courts. The Model Yacht Sailing Club will be at the Commons Lake at the Woodlands at 10:15. And our last morning activity is Agility, Balance, and Flexibility at 11:30 in the Health Club. Bev, what's going on for the afternoon?
Well, Caitlin, we're going to start with Advanced Strength and Conditioning. That'll be in the Health Club at 12:45. At 1 o'clock, we have chess being played in the Library Lounge on the island. Balance and Mobility Advance will be at 1:45 in the Health Club. And at 2:30, Nostalgia, it's a music group, will be playing in the Grand Cypress room at the Woodlands. Pilates Stretch will be in the Health Club at 3 o'clock. And we have a 4:30 indoor bocce game going on at the Health Club. The singles table at the Crystal will be available at 5 o'clock. And we have Prayer and Praise at 7:15 at the Village Church to round out our evening. Well, thank you for joining us today, and we will see you back here again tomorrow.
Hello, I'm Teri Kollath with your Academy information for Wednesday, July 27th. At 9 a.m., smartphone videography continues in the Sabal room at the Woodlands. And at 3:45, Art After Hours at the Baker Museum. Academy on the Go will start at the Island at 3:45 for pickup. This is for those who have signed up.
Menus for Wednesday. In the Crystal Room, the Crystal Platter is roast beef with gravy, mashed potatoes, and peas and carrots. They have their a la carte menu for dinner, and the soup of the day is Duchess. In the Island Cafe, the sandwich special is a patty melt on rye with fries for $7.75. Dinner specials in the Palm Grill are grilled pork chops for $16.95 or shrimp romesco for $15.95. All menus are available 24 hours a day at www.shellpoint.net.
Welcome to Village Church Connections. I'm David Pavey. His name is Bill. He's a senior student about to graduate from college. Bill recently became a Christian, but is still known for his wild hair, his t-shirt with holes in it, his tattered jeans, and his bare feet. Such has been his wardrobe for the entire 4 years of his college career. Across the street from the campus is a very conservative church where worshipers are well-dressed. They want to develop a ministry to the college students, but they're not sure how to go about it. One day, Bill decides to attend church there. He walks in late, wearing jeans and a t-shirt, and his hair disheveled and his feet bare. The service has already started, so Bill starts down the aisle looking for a seat. But the church is completely packed, and he can't find a place to sit. By now, people are looking a bit uncomfortable. No one says anything. Bill gets closer and closer and closer to the pulpit when he realizes there are no seats. So he just squats down right on the carpet. Although perfectly acceptable behavior at a college fellowship, this had never happened in this church before. By now, the people are really ill at ease. There's tension in the air. You could feel it. About this time, the pastor realizes that from way at the back of the church, an elder is slowly making his way towards Bill using his cane. In his early 80s, the elder has silver gray hair and is wearing a three-piece suit with a pocket watch, if you please. A godly, dignified Christian gentleman. People were thinking, well, you can't blame the elder for what he's going to do. How can you expect a man of his age and of his background to understand some scruffy college kid on the floor? The church is utterly silent. All eyes are focused on the unfolding confrontation. You could hear a pin drop. The pastor is quiet too, feeling he can't begin the sermon until the elder does what he has to do. And now the congregation sees the elder drop his cane on the floor. And with great difficulty, he lowers himself and sits down on the floor next to Bill to worship with him. So Bill won't be alone. Everyone chokes up with emotion. When the minister gains control, he says, "What I am about to preach, you will never remember. What you have just seen, you will never forget." How often do we misjudge people on the basis of their appearance? How careful we need to be in this regard. The prophet Samuel in the Bible had to learn this lesson. One day God sent him to Bethlehem to find a man named Jesse and then anoint one of his 8 sons to be the next king of Israel. In Bethlehem, Samuel took one look at Jesse's son Eliab and thought, surely this is the Lord's anointed. But the Lord said to Samuel, don't judge by his appearance or height, for I have rejected him. The Lord doesn't see things the way you see them. People judge by outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart. People judge by outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart. Then Jesse told his son Abinadab to step forward and walk in front of Samuel. But Samuel said, no, this is not the one the Lord has chosen. And next Jesse summoned Shimeah. But Samuel said, neither is this one the Lord has chosen. And the saga continued. Nathanael the 4th, Radai the 5th, Ozem the 6th, and number 7 who doesn't even have a name recorded. So all 7 of the boys were presented to Samuel. But Samuel said to Jesse, the Lord has not chosen any of these. Are these all the sons you have? There is still the youngest, Jesse replied, but he's out on the fields watching the sheep and goats. Send for him at once, Samuel said. We will not sit down to eat until he arrives. So Jesse sent for him, and the Lord said, this is the one, anoint him. So, as young David the shepherd boy stood there among his big brothers, Samuel took the flask of olive oil he had bought and anointed David with the oil. And the Spirit of the Lord came powerfully upon David from that day on. Yes, though people judge by the outward appearance, the Lord looks at the heart. The difference between one person and another as God sees it has nothing to do with our stature, which has always been a comfort to me, by the way. It has nothing to do with our looks either, or the size of our home, or the make of our car, or our financial situation, or the work we do, or any of such outward aspects. It is not these things that God is looking at. He's looking at something else, the heart. I take home two important lessons from the story of Samuel anointing David, and illustrated by the church elder sitting on the floor with the scruffy student. First, we need to be careful not to stereotype people on the basis of their appearance. Then, since God looks at our heart, we need to obey the scriptural injunction, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. What you look at, you move towards. One of my friends with 3 teenagers has a large sign on top of the family TV. It's a quote from Psalm 103. I will not look with approval on anything that is vile. So, be careful not to stereotype people and guard your heart. Got it? And thank you for tuning in once again to Village Church Connections.
Thanks for joining us for today's program. On tomorrow's show, Hannah Hosterman and Michelle Tompkins will talk about 2 balance classes, Balance Basics and the Advanced version. And we'll pay a visit to the Genealogy Library at the Woodlands, where Beth Crenshaw will learn about this valuable resource for tracing your ancestors.
Sounds like it'll be a great program. Thanks for joining us today for Wednesday, July 27th edition of Shell Point. I'm Rich Nation.
And I'm Mary Kay Grimaldi. We hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and we'll see you back here again tomorrow.